love letters. Okay. This was me messing around with stuff. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, it looks pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is a file, and I put the link in your instructions on page 3. It's currently free. Let me reopen something here. I'm going to open this one because this is still me after I've messed with it. I thought I had the. Okay. Yeah. I can open this as an SVG file because I have business edition, but I won't. I will even try. I will show you what happens. This is an SVG file, and I'm going to ask it to open it, and it's going to tell me that it's not supported. If I changed back to my business edition, it would open it. So what I did instead is when you go and you look at that download, it's got a DXF, I don't know what that is, SVG, PNG, and EPS. The one that you want, if you have basic, is the PNG. You can download anything, all of them if you want. But as you can see, this is a PNG file. Oh, and then I just opened it up. So what I need to do is go back to here when I'm sharing my screen. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties here. And I'm going to open my PNG. And you're going to see something. It's gigantical. You could cut these out of 12 by 12, each thing out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper and put it up on the wall. You could do a lot of different stuff with this, but we don't want it. You can see it's 84 inches wide. So that's a little much. I'm going to take that back down to, let's say 10. And here we go. You see how that's unlocked? Mm-hmm. I want it to be locked because what I'm going to do is change the width, and with that locked, it will automatically change the height. If I try to do it separately, I'd have to figure out how much to take out of both. I don't want to have to do that, or I'd wind up with something that was really narrow and very tall. So, and that wouldn't work either. So I want this to be 10 inches. When I hit the tab key, you're going to see that it decreased that to 4 inches, and then I'm going to hit enter. Now this is where it gets fun because it does this every time, and I've got a request into somebody who is a beta tester for them.
One second, Linda.
Yep.
I'm so sorry. You said select the PNG. Will it always be the same options? How will you know what to select?
Well, if you are working in the basic edition, when you look at anything that you want to get for free, or even if you want to purchase it, if you don't purchase it from the Silhouette Design Store, because those come in the Silhouette file type that you can open. The only thing you're going to be able to open that's traced, that has all the cut lines in it automatically, is the PNG. Sometimes they will have JPEGs.
Okay.
Or, all sorts of different things. But if you bring in a JPEG, it's not going to be have the cut lines in it automatically.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, this is fun because now I have to find the thing, and there it is. It tends to go way over to the right and sort of down at the corner of the mat. So I'm going to drag that back there. I really wish they would have it. Oh, hold on. So that, oh goodness, Linda. This screen thing, the controls for the Zoom are in my way. Here we go. All right. Now let's go back up here. I really wish when you made it smaller, it would make it smaller to this corner, but what it's doing is it's reducing it this way. So I played around. I haven't figured out a way to make it do the right thing, but if y'all figure something out, let me know. And in the meantime, I've put in a request to have that changed because it's a real pain in the neck. So I want to show you something. I want to click on send with this. And what you'll see, these red lines, that's the cut lines. So they're automatically there because it's a transparent PNG. All right. And I am working in the basic edition here. So what did I do with this? Well, first of all, this is not how I want to cut it out. This is a bit of a tricky thing because we're going to go in here. I'm going to click on this and it looks like it's all grouped together. But when I go up here, this tells me that it is not grouped, because if it was, this wouldn't be grayed out. It is in fact a compound path. It's been made into one object. So what I have to do is release the compound path. But what you're going to notice, can you see in here all these little boxes? What that is each of these inside is a separate piece. It's now, you remember how when I released the compound path before, when I turned the key green, and when I released it, the inside, that little bit that we were keeping also turned green? Well, in this case, it's white. So what I have to do is go back out. Is now that I've released the compound path on that, remember I right clicked and it, instead of saying make compound path here, it said release. I need to select all the parts of the L. Now I have, this is in your preferences, I have mine set up so that the second it touches something, an object, it includes it in the group. My concern is here, you notice how it went over the O? Is now I'm going to get that O in there and I really don't want it. So I have to be kind of careful, but I can see that I have a piece here, a piece here. There's a whole bunch of pieces, but it looks like I've got it. I'm going to group that and move it out of my way. Now, the other thing I could do rather than grouping it and moving it is I'm going to select this O and I want to make sure I get all parts of it. So there I go. I've got it. And now I can click on that and say, make a compound path. And I'm going to undo it. I want you to notice right now, see how you can see the matte lines underneath there? When I undo, release the compound path, when it gets there, you see how you can't see them anymore? That's because without the compound path, that's considered a shape of its own. I have it all selected. I say make compound path. I can see the grid lines again. I know I'm good. So I'll move that. If I take this, it is a grouped object. Select it all. I can make, if I try to make a compound path, I can, you notice it's all there. It just has taken the color out of everything, which is no big deal. But just so you know, if that happens, you're fine. I can fill it back in. And so you can still see the grid lines behind it, which tells me this is now a transparent thing again. So I'm going to do that with my V. This is tricky because I can get all the way over that little piece there. Yep. And I'm just going to tell it to make a compound path. And I'm going to do it here. It just make a compound path responds differently when objects are grouped together than it does when they're simply selected. Because the group, and when I mean group, I mean I literally went up here and told it to group those shapes together. And we're going to use that again. So now I have my really cool little letters, and I want to fit them. I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to copy this card. This is my 4x6 card. And I'm going to go back over to my letters and I'm going to paste that in there. And now I know the size I need to have these fit. Notice how that's on the top. When that happens, one way or the other, you can click on, there we go. Send to back. I did again, this was a right click to bring up that menu. When you're on an object and you click it, you'll get this menu. I want to send it to the back. So now my letters are in front. Now, this is where it becomes really important. I'm going to move that thing out of the way for a second. And I'm going to group all these letters. They don't have to be arranged the way you want them yet. They don't have to be anything. You just want to group them before you resize them. Okay, so I'm going to take them down a little bit. Now I'm probably going to have to fiddle around with them a little bit more. So I'm going to ungroup them. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, I want to put love in here. And obviously I would still need to make it smaller. The way I have my preferences set up is if I try to select just the letters, I'm going to get that background. So I'm going to just shove it aside for a second. And I can even do it this way and just resize them down like that. I'm going to go back over here because this is eventually what I did. And I'm going to show you the cards that I cut. I cut this out. I cut this out of pink. I cut this out of pink. Let's see. I have it sitting here in front of me. Yep. And then I cut a little bit out of red. And the way I did that is I put this is 6 inches right here in the middle. I put a 7-inch piece of pink cardstock on this side. So it was 7 by 12. And then I took a 2 by, 6 piece of cardstock and I put it on my mat here. So when I send it, and this is, this is pretty heavy cardstock and I used the textured heavy cardstock setting, but I actually kicked it up a little bit. And this is just trial and error. You get used to playing around with this. I wasn't, given my experience, I didn't believe 3 was going to cut it well enough. So I kicked it up to 5 and that wound up working. When you get a chance to work with the machines, you can do test cuts. And when we're able to have you guys back in the library, we'll go over how to actually use the machine because unfortunately right now we can't do that. So, but that's how I set up my mat. Does anybody have any questions about these letters? Something
you mentioned earlier. What is the advantage of setting your preferences so that when soon as your cursor touches an object, it selects it? And are there any limitations and how do you do it?
Okay, let's go back to Silhouette Studio. So to change your preferences, it's been a while. Okay, somebody help me. There we go, edit. And I went through this in the basic class. I'm not sure we have a video of that, but this is something that's fairly easy. Silhouette America has a video on this, so it's a pretty easy thing to find some help with. If you go to silhouetteamerica.com, which is on your resource list, they have what they call Silhouette 101, and there's lots of tutorials and videos and things that you can access there. Let's see, where do we show that? No. Tools, there we go. Okay, so it's under tools in your preferences. So we opened edit, went to preferences, and on tools, when drag selecting, select shapes touching drag box. That means you don't have to have them fully enclosed in order to have it selected. Your options is that it has to be enclosed by a drag box, which means you have to have it completely inside of it. The reason I prefer to have it where it's just touching is, for example, these letters. So yeah, I have those grouped. You can see up here, that's how I know they're grouped. I'm going to ungroup it. When I was selecting them, if I had to have, and they were kind of wonky like that. I mean, in that case, it would have been easier because it wouldn't pick up that O like it just has, because it would have had to completely enclose that O. But for what I do on a regular basis, I don't want to have to make sure I'm getting all the way to the edge of something to select it, because I used to have it set like that and I was constantly having to reselect and reselect and reselect. So it depends on how you work. And that's the way with all those preferences. for the most part, is it's about how you work and what you're using the software to do. So if you find one way doesn't seem to be working, try it another, and then you can figure out which way you like it for yourself.
Thank you.
Okay? You're welcome.